I often wonder about the nature of reality, about our relationship to the creative force that forged the particles of our stars and intertwined them with the molecules of our bodies. Who are we? And where are we actually sitting within the architecture of our universe? Are we alone? Or is the answer simply stranger than we can think? My name is Jeremy Corbell. I seek to weaponize your curiosity, and if you're ready to suspend your own prejudice, welcome to the world of extraordinary beliefs.
Dude, there's a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh, thing, dude. That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Nothing inside the ATFLIR system is or could cause the rotational flux of the target that is at a higher rate than the background. It's a straw man argument. It's attempting to argue something that's irrelevant to the case.
That's the voice of John Ehrhart. John is an electro-optics specialist who is tasked by his employment with Boeing, an aerospace defense contractor, to directly work on the operational Navy ATFLIR targeting pod systems commonly used on our country's fighter jets, jets like Commander David Fravor's, the pilot who chased a UFO for the United States military, like Chad Underwood, the pilot who filmed the now famous TIC TAC UFO. If anybody knows how these ATFLIR targeting pod bad boys work, the details, the mechanics, and how to interpret the data, it's John. The reason I felt compelled to clarify the specifics of the Pentagon GIMBAL UFO CRAFT footage is because I've witnessed numerous debunkers contort and twist the facts of this bonafide UFO footage with a mental gymnastics worthy of a gold medal. It's almost as if they fear a reality greater than the one they have predetermined. It's a sort of existential bias, and their only defense is, you're too dumb to investigate the unexplained. I don't think you're dumb. I just think you're busy. So I did some of the work for you. Debunkers are not skeptics, they're debunkers, and it's time that we call it as we see it. They're motivated with wasting your time. They would rather explain the uninvestigated by making up magical theories like the derotation theory that has been propagated, regurgitated, and parroted repeatedly on Twitter. And it's as bullshit today as it was the first time it was ever said. But do the debunkers know they're misleading you? My other buddy and FLIR specialist Dave Fouch thinks so, and so do I. The irony is that debunkers claim to be anti-authority. However, they speak of things that they know not of, with authority. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy to logic and also to purpose, and it's shockingly bad science. But you've been warned. So now you might need to tune your dials to a different station and find alternate sources of credibility. You don't need to be a genius to recognize the dangerous game being played by those who don't want you to trust your own eyes. You don't even need to be smart to see it. Debunkers selectively reduce the aperture of reason to fit their predetermined theory. It's like a sickness. It's a corrosive time suck of a disease. So this is a warning. The debunkers are on notice. People see you. Maybe that's all you've ever really wanted, but I'm simply not going to let the bullshit slide. So here's John. He shared some time with me to give you some actual expert testimony and to clarify some technical aspects of what you are and what you are not seeing in the GIMBAL UFO FLIR footage. Enjoy. I sure am. What's your name and what do you do?
John Ehrhart, 5 years direct experience designing, building, and testing electro-optical systems to support ATFLIR's operational level maintenance concept.
Would you consider yourself an expert in the ATFLIR systems?
Yes.
You worked for Boeing 7
Yeah.
years and 3 months.
Our job was to build test equipment for the front end of the ATFLIR. It's got the gimbal, the IR channel, the visible channel, relay optics, and some steering mirrors, and the coup de path back to where the laser is. We had to be able to build equipment that the Navy sailors could use to test out all those components and make sure they were good, get them back together, get them back on the plane, and get the plane flying again.
So you specifically have expertise in the function and mechanics of the ATFLIR targeting system as used in 2004 and 2015 in capturing these unidentifieds.
Yeah.
Those pods, you know.
Yeah. These systems that we built would be installed on aircraft carriers so that the guys, their F-18, they said there was a problem with their sensor. The sailors could get off the plane, take it down to the lab, test it out, figure out what was wrong with it, get it fixed, and then get it back on the plane. I did that job at Boeing for about 5 years.
I thought the ATFLIR systems were built by Raytheon.
You know, it's common in the engineering world to have a system that's built by a company, then hire another company to maintain it.
You are an expert with the mechanics of the ATFLIR on the Navy F-18s that use them.
Yes. You got this system that's sitting on the F-18. It's got all kinds of optics, different sensors in there, lots of hardware, lots of software running on it. To be able to troubleshoot that and fix that system in the field at any level requires special equipment. And the specialized test equipment interfaces with existing specialized test equipment. To be able to maintain it, you have to really understand how all the different components inside work.
Great. I couldn't imagine somebody better to speak with about the technology itself. So the gimbal video, you've seen it where it looks like it rotates counterclockwise in the frame. Does the FLIR gimbal UFO, does it display an actual rotation of the object itself? Or is that an optical illusion caused by the derotation mechanism within the ATFLIR pod?
The way the DRO works, it's going to spin the entire scene. What it's doing is it's spinning the scene so it doesn't look like it's spinning. It's actually counteracting the effect of when the gimbal's tracking it and the thing's rotating. So when you look at that video, the target is rotating more than the scene is. At the very end of that video, you can see a little bit of the whole scene rotate, but the target just keeps rotating. So there's nothing in the system that's going to rotate the target more than the background. This doesn't work that way. You don't have to get into any arguments about whether or not it's an artifact of the target itself causing some glares or something. And the derotation device inside the ATFLIR is not going to rotate the target, not the background.
We're seeing the gimbal craft itself rotate. We're not seeing a glare or flare effect from this magical derotation device.
That is correct.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
It's rotating.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It's so simple.
People are trying to confuse the issue.
Yeah, those arguments don't matter. This is a mid-wave infrared camera, right? So it's looking at between like 3 and 5 microns. That's the wavelength of the radiation. That's 3,000 to 5,000 nanometers. You're looking at the background and the same wavelength that you're looking at the target. That's what's important. The whole scene. You're seeing the same wavelengths of energy from the background as you are from the target. Okay, it's just a different amount of flux. How many photons per second are coming in? That's all that's different between the target and the background. So regardless of if it's reflective or refractive, it's going to change the background and the target the same. So just think of a mirror of a flat surface. Like Dave says, most likely it's an all-reflective design because that's way, way cheaper. But this argument doesn't hinge on whether or not the DRO is all-reflective or refractive. It's a straw man argument. It's attempting to argue something that's irrelevant to the case.
Because the object would never move independently of the horizon based on this system.
Yes.
That object is turning.
Yeah. Nothing inside the ATFLIR system is or could cause the rotational flux of the target that is at a higher rate than the background. There's no way the optics are causing that rotation.
I love it how you cut to the chase like a fucking samurai. It's a completely moot point. Case closed, fucking bang. People will find crafty ways to pull the wool over people's eyes. Trust me that. Do you find it interesting that it is of such a mechanical nature? I mean, they said it's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what really jumps out at you.
It's rotated.
Smell that? You smell that? Napalm, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Don't got a lot of time, don't give a damn. Don't tell me what to do, I am the man. I got something that you